Welcome, y'all. Come on in, and let's start talking about this Ready to Love, a recap review for episode 11. But before we get started, I got to greet everybody and tell everybody thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for my regulars, the ones that come here all the time, the ones that drop down in the comments and chat with me. And thank you to the new people that haven't been here before. Don't forget to drop down in the comments and leave me a little note, introduce yourself so I can say hi to you personally. And if any of you are interested in becoming a VIP member, you can look down below, like in the description box next to the subscribe tab. There is a join button, and you can push that button and join and become a VIP member. Thank you for the people who become a VIP member and growing my membership. And thank you to everybody who's subscribing and growing my subscriber network as well. I appreciate it, y'all. I really do appreciate it. But let's get into this review of Ready to Love episode 11, because at the end of this episode, y'all, I was rolling on the floor. I was cracking up. The two Titans went at it big time. Let me tell you, it was almost like the Dirty Dozens. They were slinging that mud back and forth. I was like, that's why I had to call this video the pot calling the kettle black, because I'm telling you, the stuff they were saying about each other, I mean, really, they really could have said it about themselves. It was wild, y'all. But you know what? We're going to take this in the order in which it happened. We ain't going to just jump to the end, even though that was a really good part. We're going to start from the beginning, because I got a lot to say about the whole episode. So make sure you got a little time to listen to me, because we're going to be here a while. Get your popcorn. Get your popcorn. So it first started at the ladies' bar. It picked up where it kind of left off the last time. All the ladies are coming into the lady bars. In the lady bar, showing all their new little colorful outfits. They definitely brought the Miami colors. Pooh, they was popping. All those dresses was popping. I like that. I like the colorfulness that you see in Miami. And I think the ladies displayed that really well in their outfits. So I was really attracted to the vibrancy of all the colors that they had on. And I always say, Black women, we look good in color. We look good in color. And especially with all the little different skin tones, I love to see color on Black women. It really just pops. It was beautiful. But everybody was singing the same old tune. Charisse was talking about, I want Samson to open up. Kayla was like, I want Randall to open up. Who else was talking about opening up? Kadin was talking about she wants Swayze to open up. Maybe you women need to start wondering why these men aren't opening up to you. It may be because they don't like you. I mean, really. This idea of you wanting something but not trying to figure out, is there anything you are contributing to the man not giving you what you want? That's like walking around with blinders on. Because I'm gonna start talking about Kadin. I'm starting to actually like Kadin a little bit better, because I'm starting to understand her better. Do I like all that attitude? No, but now I kind of understand where some of it's coming from, and I'm gonna get into that. But all these women need to start thinking about why aren't they getting what they want? And they need to stop thinking about it's just the men with the problem of not giving them what they want. The men got some problems. They absolutely do. But the women need to also start thinking about what is it that they can do differently, so that when they're out here in life and dating, they can get more of what they want. Because right now, all they're doing is sitting on the sideline and complaining. And that don't get you nowhere. Complaints don't solve anything. Ask the Karens out here. Karens, all them complain they do, call the manager. All it does is get them put in jail. They don't get nothing. They don't get anything. And the Jamala over here acting like she is a mechanic, talking about, I don't mind getting my hands dirty with Randall. You got to put in the hard work. Girl, you shouldn't have to put in this much hard work. You shouldn't need no crowbar to pry open Randall. Maybe you need a little WD-40 to loosen them up. Okay, fine. I'm with that. But the way you talking about, I don't mind getting my hands dirty. Girl, don't break a nail. Don't cut your finger with no crowbar trying to open a Randall. You might want to look a little deeper and figure out why is he so hard to open, and why doesn't he want to open up? think a little bit harder, and then maybe you might start getting closer to your solutions, everyone. But this was called Meet the Parents. This was called Bring in the Reinforcements. And I'm not going to be too hard on the parents like I was on the friends and critiquing the friends. I don't want to do that because, these are parents. And I don't want to ruffle no parents' feathers. These are their kids. These are their babies and everything. But I might have a word or two to say about a few things, but I'm not going to go full on them. So first up was Brandi, and Brandi decided that she was going to have Mike meet both her mother and her father. And Brandi starts telling the story that this was the first time Brandi had even ever introduced a man to her father. And she said maybe the last time her mother even met a boyfriend or anyone she was dating was back in college. This is going to be my other advice for Brandi, because I always got advice for Brandi. Stop telling this story. Stop telling the story out here in dating that you haven't dated a man and haven't had a boyfriend for 35 since you've been 35 years old. Because let me tell you, the bells start going on. The red flags start going on, because that is odd out here. That's like a woman walking around. I know women think it's like virtuous to say you are a virgin when you're still 40 years old or 38 years old. But I'm telling you, in a lot of people's eyes, a lot of people don't think that that's a plus sign, because a lot of people don't want virgins, not only virgins sexually at this age. They don't want no brand new person that's never had a relationship. That's scary to maybe think about getting a relationship with a person and they tell you, I've never been in one. People want people with some experience. We don't want them with too much experience, or a lot of experience, having blown through a bunch of men or blown through a bunch of women. But people don't want people with no experience. People don't want to have to teach you from ground zero. They want you to be able to come in and know something and be like, dang, maybe you could share a few techniques with me. But when we gotta rely upon all my relationship experience to get us through, that's a lot of pressure. So Brandi, I think you might need to stop saying you've never been in a relationship, because I know you're not no virgin. So there's all types of different relationships. So maybe you ought to change your story and say that whoever the last person was that you had intercourse with, sexual relations, maybe that was, and you had it maybe more than 3 or 4 times with that person, you were in a relationship. It might not have been a good one. It might not have been one you want to talk about. It may not be one that you want to brag about. It may not be one that you even introduce your parents to. But you've had experience in a relationship. So you need to stop saying that you've never had any relationship experience. That's like going for a job interview and you 35 years old and you get up in a job interview and said, I've never had a job and I'm 35 years old. What? Nobody's going to hire you. Nobody wants to hire someone that's never had a job. It's just like credit. Let me tell you, when you don't have any credit, guess what they say? That means you got bad credit. People don't say, oh, well, that's good, you don't have any credit. No, that's why people be going out here just trying to establish credit, because people don't like to take that bigger risk on you. They don't like to take that bigger risk on you in the job market. They don't want to take that big risk on you on the credit market. And let me tell you when else they don't like to take that bigger risk on you: in the dating market. So Brandi, you need to change your story. Come up with a different one. Just say that you have some experience in dating, but it hasn't been the experience you want to have. It hasn't been so great. But don't walk around talking about you ain't never had no boyfriend. That sounds weird. It really does. And Lord have mercy, when Brandi started, when she opened the door, or when the scene came on her in the house with her family, and they was taking Hennessy shots, I was like, I knew Brandi had a little ghetto in her. I'm telling you, I've been saying this from the beginning. And I don't mean this in a bad way, because that's why y'all see I'm laughing, because it's kind of funny. Brandi got a little ghetto in her, and now you know where it came from, because she up here taking Hennessy shots with her mama and daddy saying, let's handle this. Let's handle this. Brandi's kind of like that Megan Thee Stallion song. What's that song called? I'm classy, I'm bougie, I'm ratchet, I'm moody, I'm nasty. That really is Brandi. And I don't mean this in a negative way at all. So I hope it ain't coming across that way. But she is absolutely all those things. And that's what I was telling you before, that depending on what side she's showing at a particular time, she can actually attract the wrong guy, or the guy she doesn't want to attract. But let me tell you, I started rolling on the floor when she was drinking them Hennessy shots and putting them back with her mom and daddy. Mike rolls up in there, and Mike brought some gifts, y'all. You know what? Ever since he saw Samson bring those gifts on those dates, Mike started bringing gifts on his. People might have talked about Samson. They might have talked about how he was cheesy and he was doing it for everything. But you know what? Mike peeped that game and he said, you know what? I'm going to bring gifts. I won't bring them to everyone. I'm going to bring them to Brandi and I'm going to bring it to her parents because he saw some value in it. Mike got taught a little something because I told you, Mike is a little ghetto too. That's why I actually think the two of them probably belong together way, way better than a lot of people. And what he did was, let me pick up a little tip from a man who's a bit more sophisticated than me in that area, because there's some stuff about Samson that's ghetto too. He think he ain't ghetto, but there's some parts about him that's ghetto. But anyway, he picked up a tip from Samson. He said, let me bring some gifts too. He brought the mother some flowers, and then he brought the father a Detroit Pistons hat. I guess maybe Brandi's from Detroit, and maybe he's assuming that the parents are, or he knows already because he and Brandi spent a lot of time together, that the father is a Detroit Pistons fan. So he brought him a Detroit Pistons hat. So I thought that was a very impressionable move he made, because I told you I was always a fan thoughtfulness of the gifts from Mike, because I like that. I mean, if a man comes and meets my parents, he should bring a gift. He should bring something. He absolutely should. So I thought it was nice that Mike brought the gifts and that he thought of it and he learned from it. I know out here in the streets, they saying that Mike is a OnlyFans, he's a stripper and everything. I don't know, because I haven't gone to no IG pages or anything. I want to wait to the very end. I don't want to get clouded by what I see. But on this show, he's trying to do a few things right. He really is trying to do a few things right. And so I thought that was a good first impression for him to bring those gifts for Brandi's parents. And so he was like, you know what? The father was asking, hey, you know, what you like about Brandi? What you like about Brandi? I want to know, how's my little girl caught your eye? And he said, you know what? Ever since she walked in, that smile of hers, that personality. And I think that is one of the pluses of Brandi. Brandi seems to always be in a good mood. She always seems to be smiling. Maybe it's because she's a flight attendant, or maybe that's why she became a flight attendant, because she really does seem to have a pleasant disposition. And flight attendants, they do have to learn how to deal with unruly people and keep a smile on their face. But Brandi knows how to keep a good attitude, even when things are happening that she doesn't like. Because I know there's a lot of things that went on this show, especially between Mike and Kayla. And Brandi has kept sort of a good personality and a good disposition. She knows it's a game. She don't like a lot of it. But I do like the way that she is, so far, how she's handling. I mean, she speaks up when she needs to, says a few things. But I do like the fact that she's always cheerful and smiling, and seems like she's enjoying the process. But he did say one of the things he didn't like was that flight attendant job. I told y'all from the very beginning, let me tell you, Brandi might want to think about why she is having a hard time meeting the person. I'm going to tell you, this flight attendant job is going to be hard with any type of man, because no man wants to think in their head what people think when they think of people who are away all the time on their job. Oh, you on this airplane meeting all these men, and then you flying to these cities and you getting hotel rooms, and you over there 3 and 4. You could have a whole nother family in a whole nother city on these layovers. I'm telling you, that is the stuff that goes through people's head. Now, you may say, oh, well, that's insecurity. I don't want no man that's insecure. You're right. You're right. It is insecurity talking when people think that in their head. But it means a lot of people are insecure. And that's what I mean. So everybody's not out here secure, which means your pool of people that might be attracted to you shrinks, because you're right. The people who might think that in their head or be a little bit tentative about it may shy away from Brandi because they realize they're insecure in that area and they can't handle it. And what Mike is bringing up is he's actually saying, you know, hey, I don't know if I could handle this. I don't know if I could handle you being away and sleeping somewhere else 2 and 3 nights, or how many nights out of the week. And he's saying it's not comfortable for him. He ain't saying he ain't doing it yet, but he is sounding the alarm and saying it's uncomfortable. So it is a conversation. And Brandi was kind of a little perturbed by it. She's like, I've had this conversation with him before, but I guess he's not listening. No, he's listening, Brandi. He's still just not good with it. There's a difference between not listening and not hearing it, but still feeling comfortable with it. He hears you that it's not a big deal. And he hears you when you say, oh, I could be flying him to every layover I have. Girl, he's not Justin. He's not Justice. He got a whole business over here. He can't be flying, meeting you on your layovers. He's not Justice who's over here looking for free vacations. when Justice was trying to look for them free cruises from Looney. No. He said, I don't know if I can handle this. I might need some attention. He's like, I want my woman home every single night, curled up next to me. And I don't know how I would do with this. And to be honest with you, he ain't even handling it too well right now for this filming session going on for Ready to Love, because when Brandi's gone, I believe that's when he's over there creeping with Kayla. And then when Brandi comes back in town, Kayla don't hear from him. I mean, that's the side chick move right there. When Brandi's out of town on business, he's over here having the late night conversations with Kayla, hooking up and meeting with her. And then when Brandi's back in town, Kayla is all alone. But he says he will support her. And Brandi says she is able to change her schedule. That's what Brandi needs to start saying when she's dating. This is going to be the second tip for Brandi. The first one was stop talking the way you do about your past relationships. The next one is you need to reframe your career. And your answer now needs to be, I'm a flight attendant. You need to get ahead of it. Get ahead of it. Don't wait for the man to express discomfort about it, because I'm telling you, a lot of men would have discomfort, and some men may not say anything to you, and then they just won't be interested in you. So you actually need to get in front of it, address it before it even becomes a problem. Say, I'm a flight attendant, and right now, because I'm single, I just do whatever schedule I like to do, and have layovers different places. But if I were to be in a relationship and be with someone, don't say you can change your schedule. Say I would change my schedule if I were in a serious relationship so that I'm home more. So get in front of it. Let people know right away it's not going to be a problem. You're willing and ready to do it, and you already know you need to do it. Don't wait for someone to have to tell you it's a problem, because some people, and that's the thing, I tell you out here, a lot of men, they don't tell women the whole truth of why they're not dating them or don't want to be with them. That's what's going on in this show right now. Men aren't telling the truth. They come up with other reasons, and then those other reasons, they tell you why I don't want to be with you. Because Brandi's a cute girl, and there's no reason why she hasn't been in a relationship. And I'm going to tell you, this job as a flight attendant will make a lot of men uneasy, because Brandi is cute. And y'all can imagine Brandi switching her little butt down that aisle on the airplane, pushing that little food cart, talking about, hello, how may I help you? You want what you want to drink? You want some peanuts? You want a snack? Please. You know how many men will probably hit on Brandi? And men know that. Men are looking at her saying, you know how many men you come in contact with on a daily basis? Men aren't as secure as you women think. I'm telling you, they're really not. But her father also was like, let me look out for my baby girl's career. And he used to ask Mike right away, you don't do no drugs, do you? I was like, dang, what kind of men has Brandi been bringing? Well, she said they don't bring any around, but he's like, I don't want you getting my daughter up in no drugs, so she'll lose her job. She got good health benefits, a pension and everything. Him and Mike was like, oh no, I don't do any drugs. That daddy was like, yeah, don't be smoking no marijuana, no weed, nothing around my daughter. I don't want her getting no contact high. I don't want her testing. I don't want her testing positive for no drugs. I heard that, Pops. Look out for your girl. And Mike was like, the only one I get high off is Brandi. And that mama was like, with that Hennessy, go get high off Brandi. Go get high off Brandi. That mama was into that answer. She was loving it. She was like, pour me another shot. And Mike was asking him, Mike was telling them, I don't know, it's not a red flag, but it is kind of concerning that Brandi hasn't had any boyfriend or girlfriend. But I'm going to tell you, Mike, I think it's the job thing. I don't know how long Brandi's been a flight attendant, but I think part of it might be the job thing. And I think the other part of it about it is she attracts the wrong type of people, because I do believe that Randy is like that song of Megan Thee Stallion. I think she's a little bit of all those things. I think she does have some classiness in it. She's got some ratchetness, some sassiness, some nastiness. And I think depending on what she's doing at the time, she attracts a different type of guy. She might need to want to pick one or two of those personalities for a while. Doesn't mean she has to diminish all of them, but she might want to lead with one of those personalities to attract the right person. That's if it doesn't work out with Mike. Because like we said, we know on this show, stuff don't even be working out. So who knows? After this show, they may not even be together. I don't know. This may all be acting. We'll figure it out at the end. But if in the end, Brandi, you back on the job. But in the end, Brandi, if you back on the market, at least you're going to leave with some tips from your auntie. And hopefully it'll help you out there, because I think that you got the goods to get you a man. I think you should be by 36, or you should have a man by 36. If you take heed to some of these suggestions I'm giving you. They asked him about how about having more children? Yeah, get to it. And he said, you know what? When I talked to Brandi, she said she wanted to have 2, and I already got 3. So I guess we're going to have 5 children. I hope so, Mike. Oh, Mike, I hope you're not lying. I hope you're not lying. I hope you're not like Brandi. Before you get married, and you want to make sure you're gonna give them 5 kids. You better make sure you better capture some of that sperm before you sign on the dotted line, because you don't want to be married no man, and all of a sudden he say, I thought about it, and you know what? I don't think I want no kids. And Mike, you better not waste her time for no 1 or 2 years leading her on. So don't let it be no long engagement. Don't let it be no long dating process, Brandi. If Mike is not ready to pull the trigger and at least be engaged within 1 year, or walk away. Walk away. He's fooling around because he's 42 years old and he does not need 4 years to figure out if he's going to want to marry you. Give him 1 year at the most. And if after 1 year he does not at least propose with a ring, or walk away. 1 year, Brandi. That's it. Don't give him any more. Listen to your auntie Deborah. 1 year, no more. But Brandi's parents liked them. You know, Mike liked the parents. They was dabbing and slapping hands. I think they really got along. I think Brandi's parents and the vibe that they give is Mike's vibe. I think the Hennessy is Mike's vibes. Later on, we see him having Pinot Grigio with Kayla. That ain't his vibe. Pinot Grigio is not his vibe. Hennessy, that was Mike's vibe. And I think he got along with Brandi's parents really well, and I think that they really liked him as well. They said Mike made a good impression on him, and they said, we ride with you, Brandi. We ride in shotgun, like Brandi had said before with her girlfriend, like 2 flats on a Cadillac. We ride with you, Brandi. We're going to ride till the wheels fall off with you and Mike. Well, let's hope these wheels don't fall off. And Brandi, if them wheels ain't getting you to the altar and an engagement in 1 year, then you take the wheels off. You put that car up on some blocks, some cinder blocks, and you keep it moving. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. 2 flats on a Cadillac. If in 1 year, that Cadillac ain't take you to where you need to go, put that Cadillac up on some cinder blocks and you keep it moving. And Brandi was like in her confessional, you know, it went well, but he better not be pulling this same act when he goes and meets Kayla's parents, because she said it's going to be a problem. He better not be repeating the same old thing like a parrot over there with Kayla's parents. Don't worry, Brandi, because Brandi's parents are not drinking Hennessy. They're not taking Hennessy a shot. So I can guarantee you he ain't going to be saying the same thing and doing the same thing over there. Absolutely not. So next up, they show the reinforcements, meeting the parents. It ends up being Kadin and her godmother, Miss Megan. Miss Megan coming there looking like a goddess, up in there looking like a queen from somewhere. And then we find out that she's Jamaican. And I guess Kadin is Jamaican. I didn't know that Kadin was Jamaican. She must have one of her parents must be Jamaican. And she must not have let out that Jamaican accent yet. But let me tell you, that explains things, because let me tell you, Jamaicans are sassy. They are sassy. Let me tell you, they can cut you with their tongue. And there's not too many men that can handle Jamaican women. I mean, typically it'd be Jamaican men that can handle Jamaican women. And sometimes the Jamaican women have to be like that, because sometimes them Jamaican men are wild. So I get the culture. I get why the women are sassy, because they got to handle some of these Jamaican men. Y'all know you've been to Jamaica before. Every woman has been to Jamaica. And if you haven't, when you go, you'll know what I'm talking about, because them Jamaican men are wild, wild. They flirt, they everything. And them Jamaican women got to be on them men's necks all the time, because them Jamaican men be all over the place when them American women come down there. And listen, the girl, the woman that does my hair, she's Jamaican, and some of the other ladies in the shop are Jamaican, and I be listening to their stories and talking. I'm like, oh, this is a different culture. This is a different culture. And so you actually can see how some things happen. But now I understand all this sassiness of Kadin. But here's Kadin's problem. She ain't dating another Jamaican. I know Swayze started talking about his grandfather Jamaican. Now that's too far removed. That's like saying my great-great-grandfather was white. Okay, that don't mean I got a bunch of white characteristics up in me. That ain't close enough. But Kadin, her mom or her daddy must be Jamaican, because that Jamaican sassiness and that tongue, that's why it is so close on the surface with Kadin. Now I see why she's having a problem out here. She said she dated that godmother's son. So she should have some pretty good feedback on what went wrong, but she probably blaming it all on the son. She probably ain't looking at herself, because let me tell you something. Now that I'm hearing a lot about Kadin, Kadin is absolutely falling for Swayze. Kadin is trying to push this relationship along so fast, and she's trying to get answers from Swayze. And Swayze is like, wait a minute, you really need to slow your roll, because I really haven't even figured out if we even gonna be together a long term. I'm telling you, Swayze likes Kadin, just like you said. I like her personality and that she's outgoing. That's why he likes her. But long term, Swayze is not sold on Kadin. And here's the problem. All Kadin is doing is asking Swayze the same old question over and over again. And Swayze is telling her the same thing over and over again. I need you to chill out. I need you to slow down. I need you to stop interrupting me. I need you to stop being so sassy. I need you to watch your mouth. Well, Swayze doesn't say watch your mouth. He says communication. He's trying to use all these politically correct terms and euphemisms. Kadin doesn't understand that language, Swayze. You need to talk in real language and tell her directly, I don't like your mouth. And unless you change your mouth, this relationship is going nowhere. That's what he has to tell Kadin. He has to talk to a Kadin straight, because Kadin keeps thinking, that Swayze is just guarded. No, that ain't it. He may have some of that in him, but that ain't the main problem. That is not the main problem. Kadin is not reading her man. She's not reading the room. She's so focused on what she wants and where she wants to go. She's actually not listening to the answers of a Swayze. And later on, Tommy gives a Kadin some advice, talking about just if he ain't going, we should keep going. Now, that's bad advice, Tommy. That's bad advice, because you're not recognizing what Kadin needs to do differently. Because that advice you're giving Kadin, that means all the work is on Swayze's side. He needs to open up or else. No, there's some things Kadin needs to do first. I would be like Swayze. I'm not open up to Kadin. Kadin got a lot of characteristics like Charisse. People don't open up to people like Kadin and Charisse. People don't want to be prodded and poked and pushed along and bullied and all that talk. Nobody wants to do that and open up to you. Kadin is going to have to do a much better job at making it a safe space for Swayze to even talk. How can he open up if you cutting him off all the time? The work is on Kadin. I'm telling you right now, the ball is actually in her court. She don't think it is, but the ball is in her court. It's her serve. It is her serve. She over here talking about every time I ask him when he wants to get married, there's no answer. That is your answer. Like I said, even people with Randall, people think that when men don't give them answers, they're filling in the answers with their own answer. So what Kadin thinks is when she asks Swayze, when do you want to get married? And he doesn't answer, she's thinking he doesn't know the time frame he would want to get married to me. No, that's not what he doesn't know. He doesn't know even if he wants to marry you. It's a whole different question. See, you're talking about the timing of something. He's saying you don't need to be worried about the timing. You need to be worried about if it will ever happen. Not when or where it's going to happen, if it will ever happen. See, Kadin thinks she's much further down the line. Then she up here planning the wedding, planning Valentine's Day, planning all these dates. And girl, you need to go back, rewind, and you need to make sure that this man even want to be with you a long term. And she says, we know our issues. We know our issues. It's communication. She's talking to her godmother, and we just got to figure out how we work through these issues because we're both alpha people. Well, there's your answer. You both alpha people. So what you think the answer is going to be? He's not going to be an alpha no more. He's going to be a beta. That's what I'm saying, Kadin. The answer is with you. You're going to have to tone your stuff down, because if what you think is he as the man is he's going to drop down and be a beta and you're going to get to stay and be the alpha, that ain't going to work. That's what I tell you about a lot of women who are alpha women. There's a dilemma out here. A lot of alpha women want alpha men, right? But what they don't understand is alpha men don't want alpha women all the time. They really don't. They want parts of alpha women. They want the part of you where you're a go-getter and you know the things you want, but they don't want the mouth of an alpha woman. That's why you got to be very careful when you listen to men talking about they want an alpha woman. Be very careful. They want certain parts of an alpha woman, but they don't want the mouth of an alpha woman. Not at all. They don't want that. That part they want to leave on the floor. Okay? They want to leave it on the floor. They don't want to take that part of you. So when she's talking about we got to work through our issues, the problem is she's leaving herself out of the solution. She's leaving herself out of the solution. It seems to her like she's waiting on Swayze to do all the change to accept her as she is. Another one, accept me as I am. That's another problem. Kadin wants to be accepted as she is. And later on when she's talking, she says, yeah, because I don't want to have to dummy myself down. Girl, changing yourself to mesh and blend with another person is not dumbing yourself down. Let me tell you what's dumb. Dumb is doing the same thing over and over. Okay, you a slow learner. When you do the same thing over and over and you get the same results and you're not getting better results, that means you're a slow learner. That means you're dumb. Why is changing and growing and figuring something out and adjusting being dumb, but sticking to your guns and being stubborn and keep doing what you want to do, the smart solution. Kadin, you got it all wrong. You are not dumbing yourself down. When you enter a situation, you learn from your mistakes, you adjust, and you do something different. That makes you smart. That makes you intelligent. The dumb people keep hitting their head up against the wall and doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's the dumbass. You really need to change your definition of what you believe is smart and what you believe is dumb. Because right now, you're following the wrong definition of smart. You're actually following the definition of being dumb. And I don't think you're a dumb woman. I really don't. I think she actually has a big heart. I think behind all this bravado of Kadin, she actually has a big and sweet heart. Because let me tell you, she really seems like she's mushy inside for Kadin. I mean, for Swayze. She really does. But the problem is she's overlooking the steps she needs to do to get to that part where she wants to go. And she's not participating in the progress. She's not participating in the improvement of the relationship. What she's doing is she's pointing out where she wants to go. And she's talking about, hurry up, Swayze, let's get here. But she's not doing the things she needs to do. She better start being a part of her own solution and stop looking for Swayze to be the whole solution. She better join this process. When Swayze was talking to that godmother, and he told that godmother that he had an 8-year-old child, and that godmother was like, if the mother was here, she'd be pressing a button. I guess that means they don't want Kadin to have no man with no baby. I guess that was a no. That was a negative. I tell you, all these buzzers going off for people with kids. It's a hot topic out here. Women get mad when men tell them that it's baggage when they already got kids. And now women are saying to men it's baggage. Mike got a little bit of it. I guess Swayze's getting a little bit of it here right now. I tell you, I don't know what the solution is going to be out here. But I don't know if you should say it in front of the people's face that their kids are baggage, or press a no button when someone mentions their children. I think that's kind of rude, to be honest with you. But Swayze was trying to tell that godmother, saying, you know what, Kadin, she just cut me off all the time. She never let me finish my thoughts, this and that. And Kadin, well, wait, we talking about all the time? Ooh, girl, put a mirror in front of you. Put a mirror in front of you and really watch yourself back. I think this television show is going to be a good exercise for Kadin, because I don't think Kadin sees herself. I don't think she sees how she comes off. And in fact, I think the godmother was saying, yeah, she does have that in her, but it doesn't bother me. That's the problem right there. Everybody's saying that what doesn't bother them about Kadin because they're not married to Kadin. They don't have to make decisions with Kadin. When you're married, you got to make a lot of joint decisions about children, money, finances, household things. And you know what? As a friend, maybe it doesn't bother you because you know what? There's no consequences in your life. You don't have to get along with your friends on every situation or work out problems with your child, your friend at all times. But when you're married to that person and you're gonna have to be working through some tough issues, to have a person that enters conversations the way Kadin does, let me tell you, that would be difficult. That would be difficult anytime you have to discuss something serious that you're continuously cut off. Eyes are being rolled, smirks are being made, and nasty moods and attitudes are flying around the room. Who would want to go into that type of situation? People don't even want to be in business with people like that. People don't want those type of people working for them. They don't want to work with you. They don't want to go in business with you. And they definitely don't want to marry you. I'm telling you, Kadin needs to change this about herself, not only for relationships. I'm telling you, I bet her business will be better. I bet her friendships will be better. I bet her career would be better. This is a change she needs to make so that it filters through all segments of her life. Because this idea of not wanting to deal with a person with an attitude like Kadin, it is stifling her in a lot of other areas. I guarantee you. And she's like, well, it's just that, Swayze thinks he's always right. And I have to always want to be, call him out on it. Why? Why do you have to call people out when your opinion differs from them? That's another thing. See, that's that need, because I don't agree with you, got to tell you what I think. That's argumentative. You don't always have to call people out on when you disagree with them. Half the stuff when you disagree with someone, it doesn't even matter. If I think this shirt is blue and someone tells me it's gray, I'd be like, oh, okay. What difference does it make if you think it's gray and I think it's blue? It's not even no consequences. Let people have their opinions without always confronting them or challenging them. Why do you? Because when you confront people on their opinions all the time, that means you have to be right all the time. The very thing you're complaining about them, that, oh, they think they're right. You confronting them means you have to be right. Even if they think they have to be right, you ain't got to correct them. You don't have to correct them. Let them have their opinion. unless it's of grave consequence and it's going to somehow influence your life or really mess up your life, you do not have to go to bat on every little opinion a person has, because otherwise what you're doing is you're confronting people all the time. You're cutting them off in conversations because every time they finish a sentence, you got to address the sentence and talk about the way you approve or don't approve of the sentence. That's what makes you argumentative. Dang, let me talk. And then acts like Swayze's trying to make her join some type of cult where in the cult, everybody got to listen to everything that the master says, Swayze says, and got to agree. He's never told Kadin she's got to agree with everything he says, but he is saying that, hey, let me have an opinion. Let me express myself without you always contradicting me or challenging me. That's what makes women, people, not even just women, it makes people argumentative. If you think you argumentative out here, you got to ask yourself, why do you feel the need to chase down people's opinions all the time and express yours over them to the point that you get into an argument? That's a difference. I love to hear people's different opinions, but I don't force my opinion on others. Even in all these videos I do, I don't make people to have to think the way I think. And then when people tell me what their opinions are, I listen to them, and some of the opinions I accept and be like, you know what, I didn't look at it that way. And some of the opinions I don't, but I'm not going to get in no fight with them in no comment section. That you'll never, ever see me do. Because I'm thinking everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And in the end, most people's opinions do not affect you in any real way in your life. So most people's opinions, it's not even worth confronting them over. People let some of these conversations go. Let them go. But Swayze keeps telling Kadin, I want you to relax. She keeps saying, well, I want to know the answer about what is it about me that he likes or he wants or wants me to do so she can move on down the line. And he says, I want her to relax. But she doesn't even hear it. She skips over and says, yeah, but I want him to tell me what I want to do. He just told you he wants you to relax. Why don't you hear this, Kadin? But you know why she doesn't hear it? Because it's not something she wants to do. She said the truth. I don't want to have to dummy myself down. I don't want to have to change. That's why she doesn't hear his answer, because she doesn't want to have to do what he's asking. Because the easy thing is for her to stay the same and ask for all the change from him. The hard thing would be for her to change. And she don't want to do that. That's why she keeps saying, I don't know what Swayze wants from me. You know, he's told you a billion times. I've heard it a billion times, and I've only been watching this show 10 episodes, and you spend way more time with him, and I already know what he wants from you. So you've got to know. Swayze is saying, you know what, I don't want to open myself up to this and it doesn't work. He said, I don't even know if I want to deal with this woman long term. So until I know if I want to deal with this woman long term, I'm not telling her all my deepest, darkest secrets. And that's what Kadin doesn't get. Kadin isn't getting that he's not going to open up to you until he sees a future with you, because who's going to open up to people that they know they're going to be getting rid of in another 3 weeks? And nobody open up to short-term relationships. Short-term relationships is all about having fun, sleeping together, and having a good time. It ain't about opening up to you because I ain't even decided if I want to be with you. Swayze needs to tell her the truth. Really tell her the truth. Spell it out to her, because right now, she's like a person taking a test every single week, and she's wondering why she hasn't progressed to the next level. And she's saying, hey, teacher Swayze, can you correct my paper? Can you tell me what I did wrong? And the teacher ain't putting no grade on the paper. He ain't correcting no problems on the paper. He's just saying, no, I ain't gonna give you no feedback, no direct feedback. I'm gonna just let you know you didn't pass. So Kadin is searching around on the test, all the test questions. She don't even know which one she got right. She don't know which one she got wrong. All the teacher is saying is, you didn't pass. And that's right now what Swayze is doing Kadin. I figured it out, but Kadin is more thick in the head. So Swayze gonna have to really spell it out. And I think he's afraid of hurting her feelings. He's afraid of hurting her feelings, or he's afraid of her going off in an anger rage. And so therefore he's not being honest with her, fully honest with her. And he needs to take the risk if he really wants to see if this can work and if she can make the adjustments. He needs to be fully open, fully honest, and just lay it all on the table and then step back to make sure he don't get hit by no swing coming from Kadin. Because then Kadin's like, I need to know, can you accept my moodiness? Can you? No, he can't accept it. Nobody can accept it. That's a no. Where's the cue card? A no. He can't accept it, Kadin. You got to change, girl. I'm sorry. There ain't no way out this fishnet. You have to change. You keep trying to find a man to put up with this, and you're going to keep looking for a long, long, long time. And what you need to do is you need to change. Because let me tell you, the only man who's going to put up with this sassiness of Kadin is a man who's worse than her. It's going to be a man who's worse than her. And then guess what? She ain't going to want to put up with that man because he's going to be worse than her. That's the only person who's going to put up with it is someone who's worse than her. And she ain't going to want him. That's the same problem happening over there with Samson and Charisse. They two peas in the pot. Like I said, the pot's calling the kettle black. Kadin don't want that type of man that can put up with her because that means he's worse than her. And then Kadin wants to punk Swayze. He talking about, Swayze want me to treat him like a baby and baby him. See, that's that punking people, mocking people that real strong alpha people do, that when you're not strong enough to handle them, are you the wimp? That's that bullying stuff. That's that schoolyard bullying when really the problem is them. But what they do is they try to make it seem like you the wimp, you the weak one. And they don't need to be the one to change. You need to buck up. You need to be stronger. And that's what she's using when she tells Kadin, oh, he wants me to baby him. No, that's not called baby. And that's called treat with respect. That's not babying. See, that's when you try to make it look like because people have standards, we the weak ones, and we got to be babied, and we weak and we punks, and then you the normal one. No, honey, you are overly assertive. Okay, your moodiness, all that, and everybody else who's asking for something different, they the normal ones. But I know that's the tactic you have to use to make yourself feel better. But deep down inside, like Kadin said, when Swayze doesn't give her answers, it feels like rejection. And it makes her even scared more. And that's exactly it. So if you don't want to feel rejected anymore, Kadin, you need to change. Like I said, the ball is in her court. It's her serve. She's sitting over here waiting for Swayze to come up with a different answer and be different and accept her for who she is. She's going to be waiting a long time. You've been out here waiting a long time already, Kadin. You might as well start changing. Start changing. Next up was Jamala on her calling the reinforcement. She had her mama with her and her older sister with her. And Randall came and he showed up in a tuxedo. Y'all know I'm lying. He didn't show up in no tuxedo. It was the Randall tuxedo because it wasn't gym clothes. But he showed up in some pants and a shirt. But of course, the pants were ripped jeans. And I don't know. I don't even think the shirt had a collar on. I can't remember. But that would be called the Randall tuxedo when he's wearing anything besides gym shorts and some ankle socks and some sneakers. So he showed up in his Randall tuxedo, which are jeans and a shirt. Talking about he wasn't too excited about meeting the parents because he still ain't over what that little stunt Jamala pulled and how Jamala showed all her insecurities. Here go another person putting it all on the other person. First of all, Jamala might have showed some insecurities, but stop walking around as if you didn't have a hand to play in that. This is what I don't like about people. Act as if all the work and responsibility was on Jamala. See, this is what Randall thinks. Randall thinks he can do anything he wants to do, put forth a little bit of effort. And when you have a problem with it at all, it's all your fault. You weak. You got insecurities. And I need to just keep doing what I'm doing. Randall never looked at the fact that behind closed doors in the dark, he's filling Jamala's head with a whole bunch of stuff. And then when he gets out in public in the daylight, he's doing something completely different. And then when she comes out and she's confused by it, she's the one with insecurities. And she should be believing what's going on in the dark, not what's going on in the light. That's exactly what she shouldn't be believing. She shouldn't be believing what's going on in the dark. She should be believing what's going on in the light. And so for Randall to think that Jamala should believe everything behind closed doors, but then when you get out in public, you barely want to talk to her. Boy, get out of here. Anyway, he shows up in his tuxedo and they ask him, well, what drew you to Jamala? And he said, because when she walked through the door, I was just attracted to her. He ain't even got nothing concrete. So I guess it was just Jamala walked in the room and she was pretty. I guess that's it. Don't they talk a lot? He ain't got no better answer than to why he's drawn to Jamala besides the fact that she walked in a room. This man is empty inside. Empty. Y'all think he's deep because he don't say a lot of words, like empty. And then, that sister jumped right in and that sister was like, I heard what happened at the retreat. And what you need to know, if another woman is trying to creep up on you, you need to learn how to curb them women. And Randall was like, I don't think so. No, Jamala needs how to be patient and sit over there and be quiet. I did think that sister was a little out of line. I'm like, girl, they are dating other people. I don't agree with that. I don't think you need to go that far and say he needed to curb Kayla and Trinika at the retreat. But what he did was the complete opposite. He not only did not curb Trinika and Kayla, which I don't think he should have anyway. He didn't even give Jamala the time of day. So the person he curbed was Jamala. So maybe what she should say is, if another woman is coming in the picture doing this game or process, you need to not be curbing my sister. Maybe that's what you need to say. That's where you probably need to start, is don't be curbing my sister, because that's what he actually did. He curbed Jamala. And Randall was like, she need to give me time to talk to other people. She need to let me roam around, let me roam these streets and figure out everything. Well, you better learn how to chew gum and dribble at the same time. Aren't you an ex-basketball player, Randall? You should be able to do more than one thing, dribble and pivot. You should be able to dribble and spin. You should be able to do more than one move at a time, and you should have been able to balance your time way better in that retreat. There was nothing wrong with you spending time with Kayla, and nothing wrong with you spending time with Trinika. The problem was you spent zero time with Jamala. That was your problem. The zero was the problem. Not all the time, but zero. That was the biggest problem. And she said, you know what? She can't be going up here in level 10 when she sees me doing something wrong that she doesn't like. Like I said, Randall does not like to be confronted, chastised, or anything about that. I didn't like Jamala's approach either. To me, I would have left him alone, and I probably would have called me an Uber and went home. I didn't like her approach on how she handled it, but I understood her emotions, but I probably wouldn't handle it in the way that she did. And if I did talk to him, I would have come from more of a standpoint that I was hurt and that I was disappointed. I wouldn't have come from the anger standpoint. I wouldn't have come like I own him and he need to do what I say. I would have said, hey, you know what? In the end, you get to do what you want to do. You get to run this game the way you want to run it and play the way you want. But I'm going to tell you, I'm disappointed and I'm hurt, because coming in here, I felt a certain kind of way. I thought we had a certain kind of connection. And the way you're showing up right now is completely contrary to what you've been showing me before. And I feel hurt, disappointed, and I feel neglected and curbed. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. And if you want me to feel a different kind of way, then you actually need to treat me a different kind of way. You can't just expect me to feel differently, but keep treating me the same type of way. If you want a different response and you want me to have a different feeling, then you also need to do something differently as well. But that mama brought out busted out some cue cards on Randall, and it looked like she had a lot of questions on there, but they really only only showed her asking one, talking about how do you handle conflict or something. And at least he fessed up and said communication is his problem. He does have a communication problem. At least he knows it. But here's the thing. He says communication is his problem, but he talks about everybody else's communication problems when he's talking about the solutions. It's everybody else that needs to do something different. It's not him. Like I told you, people have told him in the past, communication is his problem. And to really be more specific, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. So the problem isn't what he says. It's the fact he doesn't say anything at all. He doesn't communicate. That is his problem. He doesn't communicate. It's not how he communicates. It's the fact that he doesn't at all. And all you're doing is sitting around trying to figure out Randall. What is Randall thinking? How does Randall feel? Y'all wasting your time with Randall. He's immature. And they ask him, Randall, can you provide and can you provide and can you protect? And he's like, oh yeah, I don't have any problem doing that. I don't have any problem doing that. That's such a surfacey question. But anyway, let's get on with it. I'm not even going to get too much into that. But they asked him, can he provide and protect, because Jamala's father wants a person with leadership qualities. Well, that is not Randall. Randall is not leading anyone anywhere. In fact, he's always asking the women to go first, go first, go first. You go first. You go first. You go first. I'll follow you. Randall ain't leading anybody. Randall can't lead nobody because he don't even know the heck of where he going. How can he lead you somewhere and he don't even know where he going? He can't even decide between 3 women. So how the heck can he lead anybody? Because he don't even know who he about to lead. He can't even decide who he gonna lead. So how can he tell you where you going? Randall is confused. That mama told Jamala good. She said, pace yourself, little girl. Pace yourself, baby girl, because she can see her daughter is moving fast with this man, falling in love with this man. And she said, you don't know anything about this man. She said, you could be married to someone for 30 years and still don't know them. She ain't lying about that. It takes a long time to get to know some people. And sometimes people die and you think you knew them and you didn't even know them. You learn about people over time. And not only do you learn about people over time, because people change. And so you may spend the first 5 years getting to know someone. And guess what? Those people change over 5 years. So you're learning new things about them. I change at least every 5 years. Shoot. Women change a lot. They change even more than men sometimes. But people change. So you know what? She's right in saying that, Jamala, slow down, slow down. You don't know too much about this man, and he's not actually volunteering a lot of information too much himself. So the next up is Samson is going to go meet the dad of Charisse. And Charisse's dad flies into town, and Charisse says she's nervous because you know what? She wants to get to more of the heart of Samson, and she wants to know why he's not opening up to her, because he don't like you. He doesn't like you. He don't like you. I've said it a million times, and I don't know why Charisse is so oblivious to it. But she finds out later the truth. She finally wakes up. But anyway, so she introduces Samson to the father, and Samson shows up with some gifts, a couple of orchids. He gives Charisse an orchid. He brought one for the mother, but the mother couldn't make it. And the daddy was like, "Where my gift at?" And Samson was like, "Here, I bought you a mug." And that father was like, "Good." I'm like, "Oh my goodness." Now that was a dry gift. The mug was a dry gift. Samson's like, I'm out of gift ideas. I'm at now episode 11, and I'm out of gift ideas. Before Samson got there, Charisse and her daddy are talking about, does he think he cute? Does he think he cute? Because the father said, he's an old time, a washed up player. Back in the day, he was a player. No wonder Charisse got some weird type of vibe with men. Why she get into confrontations with men? Because I'm starting to see, because of this daddy. Shoot, she might be taking stuff out on these current men because of that daddy. She said Papa was a Rolling Stone out here in these streets. And maybe a lot of her resentment for some of these men, the way she confronts men, is based over the fact of some unresolved anger with this daddy, because this daddy was a little bit of a trip. And I can imagine from the stories he was telling back in the day, he probably really was a trip back in the day. But Samson was talking about he was excited to meet the father because he said didn't have his own father around. So he felt like a stepfather was going to be really important. Well, I don't think this is a stepfather you would want. I don't think this is the stepfather, Samson, you was dreaming of. I really don't. You keep talking about you and her share family values. I don't think you do, because I don't think that when you've been waiting to have a stepfather for 48 years, that when you saw Charisse's stepfather or father, he was the father, like, "Oh, you the father I wish I always had." No shade, but I just don't think it's the dream that Samson had. I really don't. So the daddy's like, "Do you got any siblings?" And he trying to figure out, do you know how to get along with people in a family unit? He's like, "Yeah, I got 3 older sisters and a younger brother." Is that what he said? Yeah, he said he has 3 older and 1. I forget who was the 3. He got 3 older and 1 younger, which means I guess he's kind of like, would he be considered a middle child? Yeah, and in the middle child, sometimes middle children got issues. We know, come on, we know the whole middle child syndrome. I can see a little bit of that coming up in Samson, a little bit of the middle child syndrome. And then they asked him, "Where'd you go to college?" And he said he went to college at Morehouse. Boom, there it is. You know what I'm saying? The more you learn, you start understanding people. Let me tell you something. Everybody knows somebody that went to Morehouse. I don't know if you knew them before they went to Morehouse, and then you knew them after they went to Morehouse. But there'd be a big difference. You be having friends, you go, "Where you going to college?" "I'm going to go to Morehouse." He's like, "Okay, I'm going to go over here." And then you see them maybe like a year later, and you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And the person's completely different. I don't know what the Morehouse people be injecting in those men, but let me tell you, they inject some type of conceitedness in them. And then, I'm all for pumping the boys up and making them feel like, they're the men, and telling them, what their place is in the world. I really, really, really do love it. But sometimes, I don't know, a couple of people go to Morehouse and they probably get more of the injection than they should. Whatever they inject them in, maybe they were supposed to just inject 1 vial just to make you have confidence and all this other kind of stuff. But then some people must get in line 2 and 3 times. And when they come back, you'd be like, "Dang, you done changed. What's wrong? Your head is so blown up." That's Samson. That's what happened to Samson. Samson went to Morehouse and he got into the line 1 too many times. And now all of a sudden he think his shit don't stink. And it's hard to talk to him. It's hard to talk to him when they're up here and you're just trying to get them to come down here to have some decent conversations. They're so far up in the clouds. And now I'm kind of getting a bigger picture of what has happened with Samson over the years. And I'm telling you, a lot of people weren't good enough for Samson. He's been out here in a long time in the street. And Samson is handsome enough that he would attract a lot of women, and he could be attracted to a lot of women. But Samson is hard on people. Let me tell you, his words are hard on people. And I could see how he could have a hard time in getting along with people out here. I can kind of see why Samson's still single out here at 48. I really do say he gonna need to change himself. Let me tell you, he's like, I talk about the women that need to change. Samson got a lot of change to do because if he doesn't change, he is definitely going to die alone and without a wife, without kids, alone and lonely. I mean, if he doesn't change, he might even be out here alone with nobody to take care of him when he's old. People can be like, that old grumpy man, I ain't going to go take care of him. And he's going to be sitting over there in the house by himself with Alzheimer's and dementia. I'm going to put some fear into you, Samson. You need to change. You need to change. Otherwise, you're going to be like the old man in the house all by himself, and nobody want to come over there and check on you because you old and grumpy. You need to change. You need to change, change, change. What is Aretha Franklin saying? Change, change, change. Change, change, change. You need to change. And then the father was like, oh, well, what do you like about her? And he was like, I like her strong family values. Woo, and Charisse was hot. She was like, strong family values. That's nothing unique to me. I want you to say that I was funny and that I'm open. What? You funny and you open? Well, I guess you wanted him to lie because Charisse, you ain't funny or open. Charisse has not said anything on this whole show that was funny. And she definitely ain't open. Who does Charisse think she is? She is so unaware. She wanted Samson to say that she was funny and she was an open-hearted person. These two, between Charisse and Samson, I'm telling you, it's the pot calling the kettle black. They are the same people complaining about the same thing about each other. It's ridiculous. Charisse, you are not funny and you are not an open-hearted person. So I don't know why the heck you would think he would say that about you. She's like, he doesn't see me. No, he sees you. You don't see yourself. What you talking about? He sees you. I see you. Everybody watching this Ready to Love sees you. The problem is you don't see yourself. There's nothing funny about you and there's nothing open about you. Not at all. So I don't know. That may be who you want to be, but that's not who you are. Girl, you delusional. And so the father was like, Samson, how do you feel about women who go out here and get what they want and get what they need? And then Samson was like, oh, I've always loved an independent woman and attracted to an independent woman and do and get what they need. And that don't need nobody. And she was like, what are you talking about? Don't need nobody. I need somebody. I heard that, Charisse. Speak up on that. I need somebody. I need somebody. And Samson's like, well, I was just saying that I like a person who is self-sufficient. Because I've always been attracted to someone who's independent and doesn't need me and is self-sufficient. That's not attractive. And Charisse's like, wait a minute. I need someone. I need to work with someone. I need to be dependent on someone. That's not what I'm looking for. Charisse can't even let the daddy and Samson have a conversation. She just jumping in. Let the man talk. Let the man put his own foot in his mouth. You ain't got to interrupt him. Let him say, like I said, don't be argumentative. You can listen to a person and not agree, but let them finish their sentence. And you can just make your own decision at the end and say, you know what? I don't like Samson, but you ain't got to cut him off and confront him and stop him from saying what he's saying. Because that show ain't gonna make him like you either. Let Samson talk and let him put his foot in his mouth. But like I told you, lots of times people want these strong people, like Samson's talking about. He wants a strong, independent woman that doesn't need him, because what they don't want to do is they don't want to have to change themselves. You see, because a person like Samson, he's gonna need a tough-skinned woman. Because the words that comes out of Samson's mouth are harsh. A lot of times they are harsh. And as a result, he can't be with a woman who is sensitive, who might be a little bit more fragile, a little bit more dainty, because he will crush that woman. He will crush her soul. And so he wants to be with women who are strong, independent, don't need him, and who can take all his blows. But that ain't the solution, because the problem is the women who are tough and who can take all his blows, the Charisses of the world, he doesn't want them, because guess what? Those women dish it right back, and Samson can't take it. He can dish it, but he can't take it. Samson, I'm going to give him the same advice that I'm giving all these women out here who want to be strong, and they need a strong man to handle their strong personality. Y'all need to tone it down. You need to tone it down. Samson needs to tone it down because he's actually looking for the wrong women. Samson absolutely does not need to be with some strong, independent woman because they will be going at it like this all day long. All day long. He actually needs a woman that's a little bit softer, who knows how to get along with other people. And he needs to tone it down so that he doesn't run over that woman. The work is on Samson. He's the one that needs $1 work. He needs to stop looking for strong, independent woman. And he needs to tone his stuff down so that some woman doesn't need to learn how to take his blows. That's abusive, having to take the blows of Samson. But Charisse couldn't even let the men have a conversation. She was interrupting. And, next thing you know, the father would say, I do see some yellow lights flashing, but it ain't the lights with Samson. It's with you, my daughter. Because he says she a lot of work and she's hard to get along with. Woo, when you know your daddy says you the problem and you don't listen, and he says in front of a man that supposedly you want to get to know better, you ought to be embarrassed. You ought to be embarrassed if your own father can't say some nice things about you. Charisse really ought to take heed and realize that the problem really isn't just with Samson. She's got the same problem. They both need the same advice. They all need to tone it down, both of them. They need to tone it down because nobody is fit for either one of these people. These two could be abusive. If these two are just allowed to let it rip and go on, their words cut way too deep. They're too harsh. And most people are not going to be able to withstand it. They don't want to withstand it. And they definitely don't want to withstand it over a long period of time. The work is on them. That father said a Reese, as he calls her, she can be challenging. But he was like, if y'all want to get married, you should go on and get married. And Charisse was like, what? You giving me away like that after 3 or 4 questions? And absolutely, he's giving you away like that. He might pay a dowry. He might pay Samson money to take you off his hands and get rid of you. Because what he's saying is, my daughter has been sitting on the shelf for 48 years and no man has come along and snapped her up. So anybody coming here putting an offer, we're going to accept it. You like a house on the market. You've been on the market so long, Charisse. Anytime a man want to put an offer in for you, that father is going to accept the offer, because what that father realized is there's no other offers. There are no other offers on the table. So why the heck would I reject the offer? I'm going to accept it. Yep. I only need 3 or 4 questions. You want to marry her? Absolutely. You can marry her. Win the wedding date. Charisse was like, dang, you giving me away that easily? Absolutely. She's giving you away that easily. And it probably come with a cash incentive for Samson. He probably ready to write a check or pull out his credit card to give you away. Girl, you got work to do. He's like, absolutely, I'm going to accept his offer. This man, he's got credentials. He's a Morehouse man. He said, you've been out here waiting for 48 years. You ain't got no better offer. You better accept the offer. You better learn how to fold. And Charisse is hotter than a chicken grease. She's like, absolutely not. I can't believe this. She frustrated with Samson and her own daddy. But after Samson said, that father said game recognizes game. He says, you know what? He has all the right answers. He said, I used to be like that as a young man. I knew all the right answers to say, but then once the parents left, I did whatever I wanted to do with that woman. And he said, but be cautious because you don't want to get taken advantage of by some man. And he's like, game recognizes a game. I'm not quite sure Samson is quite the papa of a Rolling Stone as her daddy was, but he definitely picked up on the signs that Samson not really interested in you. That he may want something from you, but it ain't a marriage. And that father picked up on it. So like, you know what? I don't know what he wants from you, but I don't think it's marriage. So proceed with caution. But if he does want to marry you, better go for it because you ain't got no better offers. So the next date up was the date with Kayla and her mom and dad. And then Randall showed up in his 3-piece suit. No, lying again to y'all. He didn't show up in no 3-piece suit, no 2-piece suit, no nothing. He didn't show up in nothing again, but those same ass, a torn up, ratty, a pair of jeans. I don't like Randall. Randall he doesn't give any consideration. Now, I understand ripped jeans are in style, but you're not going to meet 20-year-old people. You're not going to meet 30-year-old people. You're going to meet parents who are in a whole completely different generation. And so if you wanted to impress the generation of the parents, you should understand that ripped jeans is not appropriate to wear. I understand it's fashion. I do. It's fashion. I got it. But you should be trying to impress the parents. Like I told you, Randall doesn't put forth any effort to impress anyone. Not you, not your friends, and not your parents. I'm telling you, he's lazy. And I just can't stand it. And then he shows up talking about, he don't know what's going on with Kayla because Kayla's over there looking at Mike. And I want to know how Kayla feels about me. Once again, here go Randall, wanting the woman to go first. He's at a date to meet the parents to find out how Kayla feels about him. That's not the purpose of the date. They there to find out how you feel about Kayla, but here come Randall coming in to get something. I'm coming here to figure out how she feels about me because I need some information for myself. I need information. Me. Give me information. Give me insight. Why don't you give some insight? Why don't you contribute to the conversation? Why don't you bring some light to the confusion? Nope, not lazy Randall. Randall here coming with his hands out. Give me something. And they flip over to the date between Mike and Kayla. So I'm going to flip back and forth too, because that's how my notes are. But then they flip back and forth to the date between Mike when he goes and meets Kayla's parents. And it's completely different for when he meets Brandi's parents. Okay, so when he met Brandi's parents, they was taking shots back of Hennessy. But when he walks in on Kayla's parents, Kayla already ordered him a Pinot Grigio. And let me tell you, Kayla did that because she was trying to impress her parents with Mike. And she know darn well Mike does not drink Pinot Grigio because 2 episodes ago, he didn't even know what the heck it was. Kayla up here trying to impress her parents because her parents are more sophisticated. So her parents would think that Mike is sophisticated. Girl, everybody can see Mike ain't sophisticated, Kayla. I don't care if you give him 4 glasses of Pinot Grigio. Everybody know that Mike don't drink Pinot Grigio. He was much more at home over there with Brandi, drinking that Hennessy, a Hennessy and Coke or Hennessy straight up with 1 ice cube. Come on, let's be real. Here go Kayla putting on an act. I ordered you a Pinot Grigio, and Mike is laughing, and he's like, you know what? Kayla come from a well-to-do family, so he said, I better put on my best act so that I don't offend the parents or nothing. But you know what Mike didn't do? He didn't bring no gifts. Kayla, Mike didn't bring your parents no gifts. I don't know if you noticed that, but Mike brought Brandi's parents gift, but he didn't bring your parents not 1 gift. You the side chick, I'm telling you, you the side chick. Mike does not want to give too many false expectations to Kayla, and he made sure I'm not bringing her no gift because I don't want to give her parents a false expectation, and I don't want to keep giving her one. I just want to keep her as a side chick. Kayla's father, he's an interrogator. He knows how to interview some people. He must have some history of doing it because he was like, tell me about yourself. You know, Mike let him know. You know, he had been married. He has 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. And the father was like, well, that's good to know. So what would you be asking a man sitting in front of you with your 2 girls? And he says, oh, okay, well, I would ask what your expectations are. And he says, okay, well, go ahead and answer your own question, Mike, then. And Mike was like, well, my intentions are just to get to know her better. He ain't got no other intentions beyond getting to know Kayla. Get to know her better. That's it. That's all. That's as far as your intentions go, to get to know her better. That's all Mike got for you, is to get to know you better. Kayla, I hope you hear it. That's the side check. I just want to get to know you. That's like when you walking down the street and a guy's flirting with you and he's like, hey, can I get your number? And you be like, no, I already got a boyfriend. I'm married. And he goes, that's okay. I just want to get to know you. And then Mike talking about, I want to know what her future work is because I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know. Maybe that's what they have in common. The fact that they're both entrepreneurs. Because I think isn't Kayla entrepreneur? I think isn't she something in radio or media or something she said. So maybe that's the vibe they have, that they're both entrepreneurs. So maybe they have that sort of go get it personality out here in the world to start their own businesses and things like that. So maybe that's why he feels he has a lot in common with Kayla in that respect. And on the other end, maybe Brandi is more suited and, comfortable with the 9 to 5, which is okay as well. But that mother said, you know what, you ought to take it as a compliment that Kayla even has you sitting here because, basically she doesn't do that to a lot of guys. And the mother's like, well, if you want to be part of this family. And Mike is like, yeah, I don't mind coming. I don't mind coming over to this family. See that line right there? That's the kind of line he's been giving on Kayla behind closed door, trying to give people false hope. Mike know he don't fit in that family. He ain't no Pinot Grigio man. He is not no Pinot Grigio man. He need to go on right back over to Brandi's family and pour himself another shot of that Hennessy, because that's who Mike is. And they switch back to Jamala. Then they switch back to Jamala and Randall's date, and they ask Randall, Jamala's sister and mother asked Randall, what are you looking for? And he said, I'm looking for a woman who's kind and caring with a big heart. I told you that's why he liked Trinika. He want a woman who's kind and caring with a big heart because he's going to need a lot of forgiveness. And he needs a woman that has a huge capacity to forgive. Randall know he'll F up. That's why he got mad at, not Trinika, he got mad at Jamala when she checked him real quick on that holiday weekend. He's like, dang, if you checking me already, this going to be a this going to be a hard relationship because there's going to be so much stuff to check me on. And if you checking me already, I don't know if I'm ready for this. He like a Trinika who doesn't check men on anything. Trinika really was more well-suited for Randall. Of all the women, I'm telling you who was more well-suited for Randall, it was Trinika. Because Trinika would let Randall get away with a lot of stuff. And she wouldn't check him on half the things. And she would be willing to do all the mental gymnastics needed in order to make her forgive him. And these other women are going to be like, I'm tired of Randall's crap. Trinika, he really should have stuck with Trinika. But the problem with Trinika was she was too busy kind of wrapped up with Justice, and she was wrapped up with LJ. And Randall didn't like the fact that Trinika was making connections with other men, because Randall likes to be the only one, the center of attention. And of all the girls, Jamala focused all his attention on Randall. That's why he kind of doesn't even like Kayla, because Kayla's got her attention split with Mike. And then, because see, Randall doesn't like to compete. He doesn't like to compete. He didn't want to compete with the other men. And when it came to Trinika, Trinika had eyes for Justice. She had eyes for the LJ. And Randall's like, I don't want to compete with those other men. And then with Kayla, I don't want to compete with Mike. That's why he was over there that time telling Mike, you can have Kayla because she's a lot of fun. Remember when Mike first started showing interest in Kayla? And Randall was like, well, you'll like Kayla because she's a lot of fun. And he basically tossed that girl over to Mike like that, gave her away. The only reason why he's with Jamala is because nobody else wanted Jamala and he ain't got to compete. See, it's a low bar. Randall is lazy and he doesn't like to compete. So that's why he's with Jamala, because there was no competition. Lazy. Lazy. And he started talking about like a woman who opens up and says what she wants, and we have dialogue. No, you don't, Randall, because every time any of these women have opened up and told you what they want, your face get all scrunched up. You don't like it. Once again, here is Randall saying something that's not true. I tell you, Randall has the perfect words to say, but he don't believe any of them and he doesn't do any of it. Same old thing. Now he's pulling the same old act on the mother and the sister, talking about what he say. He said, when we get in tough situations, I like a woman that will still speak her mind. And that way I know I can trust you. Lies. That's exactly what Jamala did at the retreat. And you put her in the doghouse. In fact, she's still in the doghouse. So once again, he has this conversation like he's all open-minded. He likes to hear people out. And that ain't even the truth. Randall loves to just talk a good game, but he ain't none of that. People leave Randall alone. Jamala, I really hope you don't stick with this man. Girl, don't stick with him. Shoot, I might have mixed up my date a little bit with what Randall was saying, but he was saying, I can't remember if he said it on the Jamala date or if he said it on the Kayla date, because my nose is a little sketchy. Maybe I was drinking some Hennessy and Coke. But I'm going to stand by what I said about Randall, because it applies no matter who he said it to, whether he said it to Kayla's parents or whether he said it to Jamala's parents. I still say he's lazy. But anyway, I do know on the date that he had with Jamala's parents, not Jamala's parents, Kayla's parents, that father called him out and said, you know what? I haven't really heard no real attributes of what you like about Kayla besides the fact that her ability to speak up. Because he ain't got nothing to say. He don't really have no real answers to say, because he don't really put no effort into really learning anybody, because Randall doesn't care. And so he's like, oh, this is a pressure cooker. He said, well, to be honest, when she's talking, I'm just listening. When she's talking, I'm zoning out. That's the translation for Randall. The reason why I don't know too much about her or what I like about her, because normally when she's talking, I'm zoning out. I'm too busy worrying about what gym shorts I'm going to put on tomorrow. That's what Randall was thinking about. He is not listening to women when they talk. He is zoning out. And then they switch back to the day with Mike and Kayla's parents. And they say, well, I heard you got other connections. So what you going to do? What you going to do? And he's like, well, Kayla done jumped up on the meter. Before, she was like the side chick. But, now I'm moving her up. I might move her out the side chick rank. And Kayla's getting all excited and happy and everything. False hope. A false hope. And they're like, well, what would you change about Kayla? And he's like, I really wouldn't change anything about her. He's saying basically, why do I need to change anything? She's doing an excellent job as a side chick. So why the heck would I need to change anything about her? I don't need to change nothing. She's doing excellent. She gets an A. And they said, well, what would you change about the other lady? And he says, I would have changed it. I need to constantly reassure her. And I wish he's saying he wouldn't have to reassure her so much. And Kayla's all happy, talking about, ooh, now that I know I got a level above her, maybe that means he would choose me on decision day. Girl, Kayla, you the 20%. You the 20%. She's the 80%. So of course there's some things he would change about Brandi. That's the 20%. But the 80%, he likes it. He ain't gonna pick you over the 20. Everybody know the 80-20 rule. Of course, there's some things he likes about Kayla. That's the 20%. And the 80% is over here with Brandi. And he gonna go with the 80%. And then the father starts talking to Randall. We switch back to the day where Randall, the father says, hey, can I trust you, Randall, with my daughter Kayla? And Randall says, yeah, I'm a very trustworthy person. And the father was like, oh, you gonna answer a question. And the father's like, you're gonna define a word with the same word. That's like in the same vein of you going to answer a question with a question. I'm telling you, this father is seeing through the bull crap of Randall and his answers. That's the same thing I said last week. Are you going to answer a question with a question? Randall is so evasive. He is so evasive. He dips and dodges and dives all around. But let me tell you, people with a little bit of wisdom and a little bit older, like this father, they peep it out real quickly. And they picked him out real quick. They were like, you know what? I don't even know if you're ready to love, Randall. But anyway, he said, what is love to you, Randall? Because Randall said, yeah, I'm ready to love. He says, what is love to you? He goes, love is home. He probably looked that up. That was probably some little motto on his wall in the house, something he read on Instagram, love is home. And he pulled it out. He said, well, yeah, love is home. Love is my grandmother. Oh, were you raised by your grandmother? Yeah, my mama too. She was there. My daddy wasn't there. And the father was like, oh, at least you talk, well about your dad, even though he wasn't there. I'm telling you, Randall is all talk. Randall was coddled. I want to know Randall's family background. Like we know where Samson was, 3 older, 1 younger. Where was Randall in the group? Randall probably was the baby because he's still a baby. Randall probably was the baby of the family or the baby boy or something like that. I don't know, something, because Randall, he's lazy. He don't do too much. And I'm not saying the younger kids are lazy, because I'm the youngest and I ain't lazy. But I'm telling you, Randall got the vibes, the stereotypical vibes of somebody who was the youngest child. They got coddled and didn't have to do anything. And that's the vibes I get from Randall. And he said after he left, he said everything went well. He enjoyed the day with Kayla and her family. He said, but ain't nothing changed. I'm still invested in Jamala. He said, I don't care what happened on this date with Kayla. I'm not switching from Jamala to Kayla. Nah, he ain't switching. Kayla would make him work too hard. Kayla would make Randall work too hard. And Randall is not trying to work that hard. Randall's trying to coast. And then Mike was back on the date. Mike back on the date with Kayla's parents, and then Kayla's father. He know how to answer these questions, ask these questions. And he said, "Well, what's the most important characteristic?" What did he say? What's the most important quality? And Mike said, "How she treats her man." He was like, "Oh, that ain't a quality. That's a characteristic." I don't know. This father was splitting hairs. I mean, he was really digging. But he called Mike and said, that ain't a quality, that's a characteristic. But I think more what he was saying was that's a character that you describing something on how you want to be treated. I'm talking about what's something unique to her about her personality or her being. And Mike turned it around and be like, what she does for me. Like I said, side chick, because he's using Kayla. That's how he feels about Kayla. What she does for me. It's nothing about anything else. It's about what she does for me. And like he said, the most important is how she treats her man. Because he's like, what she does for me. Because that's what side chicks are there for. They just really there to service the man. So that's all Mike could think about. He was truthful in his answer. How she treats me. But Mike keeps talking about, oh, Kayla's young, outgoing, and spontaneous. Every time he says Kayla is young, that's how you know he's not going to choose her. Because when he's saying young, he's not saying it in a way that's complimentary. What he's saying is Kayla's too young for me. That's what he's saying. Every time he says Kayla's young, he's saying Kayla's too young. And all the vibrancy and spontaneity that she has for herself is nice, but she's too young for me. That's what Mike is saying. But that father summed up Randall perfectly and said, Randall doesn't know what he wants. He's not sure. He said Mike is more sure, because what he sensed in Mike was a bit of more of a level of maturity. And Randall, he said he's not sure. Like I said, anybody with any bit of wisdom or a little bit of age on them knows Randall. You don't even got to have that little bit of age. You don't have to have that much age to really peep out Randall. Everybody can see it. Everybody can see right through Randall. And Kayla's like, in my mind, Randall makes sense to me, but Mike is the one that I have the intense connection with. Kayla, your man is not here. Randall really isn't your man, and neither is Mike. And so this might be your last day, because isn't decision day, or not decision day, when they do the roses, isn't that coming up next? Kayla gonna need to go off and find her a man that's more suited for her, because I really don't believe any of the men that were on this show was for Kayla. Her match wasn't here. Her match was not here at all. And she was just trying to fit like a round peg through a square hole. That's all this was. Then they switched back to Kadin and Swayze, and they already having marital problems because they can't seem to get through one date without arguing or having a problem. That ain't no good marriage. That ain't no good dating environment when Swayze is up here hoping for just a date to go well with no arguing. Ooh, isn't it supposed to be the honeymoon phase where it's no arguments, no nothing, and you guys got all this strife and conflict already? This relationship, this is going to be about, Kadin going to be the girl he hangs around when he got his off days from the fire station. Unless Kadin changes, she's just going to be the good time girl on the weekends. That's going to be it. Swayze is not going to marry this long term if Kadin don't get it together. But they go over the little scenario with the godmother, and Swayze like, I liked it at her. I was like, good Lord, what word is that? Liked. Okay, Swayze. And even Kadin had to point it out. She's like, liked it. You mean liked? Okay, Swayze. Where's Swayze from? Is he from? I know he ain't from Miami. If he from Florida, he got to be deep down from Florida, like the South Florida, something else, not Miami. Because I liked it. I don't know where that came from. But Kadin trying to push it along. She's like, what you want to do for romance? What's romantic for your birthday, for Valentine's Day? She trying to get on to the holidays. Like she said before, she's trying to get this Christmas card going up and going, Christmas pictures, everything. She's trying to get to all the good stuff, the Instagram moments. And he's like, girl, we not even a couple too much like that first. First, I got to figure out, do I like you? Do I like you? Kadin is going way too fast. She's far too down the road. She needs to listen to what Swayze is saying and saying that he has some real reservations. And she needs to address them and not just bounce over them and act like they're not such a big deal. She really needs to stop doing this. And she's like, anytime I ask Swayze any type of thing in a vulnerable state, he shuts down, he shies away from the answer because he's not sure about you. I don't understand why she isn't getting this part about Swayze. She's like, oh, he just shuts down. And she keeps thinking that the way for him to open up is just to keep asking him more and more questions, as opposed to she needs to actually be a different person. She's not getting it. She's waiting for Swayze to do all the change. She's going to be waiting a long time. Swayze ain't going to change. Swayze is not going to open up to her until she becomes more inviting and she starts to really look and pay attention more to what Swayze is saying. And she's like, well, I was happy that, I'm the second woman you introduced me to your daughter and all this other kind of stuff. That makes me feel good. Like you see a future. I do think Swayze likes her. And I think that Swayze likes the fun part of her and all this other kind of stuff. But he really is. He's saying but do I want it long term? Do I want this long term? And he said, you know what? I don't want no argumentative woman, not long term. Maybe for a weekend here or there, but not long term. Swayze ain't gonna sign up for that long term, Kadin. You better change it. That little Jamaican part of you, that sassiness and all that, you better tone that down. Tone it down. And this is what she's talking about. Can you handle my mood swings? Can you handle my attitude? No one should have to handle it. No one should have to handle it. People shouldn't have to endure this type of behavior. You should actually be changing this type of behavior. And that's the part that disturbed me the most about Kadin's conversation, because it's really the same conversation over and over again. And it's the conversation about, oh, why can't you endure it, Swayze? When are you going to get used to it? When are you going to accept it? It's really not anything about her changing anything. It's about when will Swayze accept it, endure it. And then after he accepts it and endures it, why doesn't he open up to her? It's like having a conversation with a wall. She ain't listening. But then they go back to the deliberation room and everybody walks in. And did you see the way Tommy's mouth was wide open when Kadin walked in the room with them shorts on? She had on this little sexy outfit with one leg out as a short and the other one with a pin. And I swear, Tommy's mouth was like this. He was like, girl, you wearing them shorts or them pants. He was staring so hard at Kadin. She did look sexy. Boy, pick your mouth up, Tommy. Oh, man, put your mouth up. He started asking how the dates were. And did you see Brandi get ahead of Kayla? Brandi came out with it right away and let Brandi came out with it right away and let Kayla know, I already heard about your date. And Mike already told me that he said that he has to reassure me and he doesn't have to reassure you. He took all the power away from Kayla because she knew that Kayla would have wanted to come into that deliberation room and spill that little nugget and try to have a one-up on Brandi. And Brandi played her cards right. She was like, girl, it ain't no secret. We talk about everything. He already told me what he told your parents. And that took the punch away from Kayla. Because what she said was, he talks about you all the time. I know who you are. And what Brandi was saying was, I already had the conversation. I already had the conversation. So it was brought to the light already, and that took the punch away from Kayla, because I know Kayla would have wanted to bring that up in the women's lounge, and she would have looked at it as a moment to elevate herself over Brandi, but Brandi took her thunder away. And they started talking about who they're gonna have to let go, and of course Samson's name came up because Charisse did not like that date at all. And then all the other ladies start telling Charisse, yeah, you know, Samson was calling me saying these things. I mean, to be honest, Samson was doing those things earlier in the episodes, because by the time of the retreat, he really had gotten rid of everybody else except Charisse. He had gotten rid of, he really wasn't doing too much with Kadin. And he told Brandi sitting there on the couch that this ain't going nowhere. So he really had honed in on Charisse. So those stories that they were telling her were really earlier stories when they were all trying to figure out who was going to be their number one. So I don't think that was relevant, but it doesn't matter because these two ain't suited for each other anyway. So I didn't care, but they were kind of taking the things that Samson said out of context. They were talking about earlier in the episode. And that was, a lot of people were doing that. A lot of people were saying things to more than one woman. But after a while, Samson started to realize that really the only person he had a shot with was Charisse. And Charisse should have realized, but I guess she didn't, that the only person she had a shot with was Samson. They was both using each other, because if they didn't use each other, they both would have been gone. That's the problem. They both trying to act like who was the worst person. But the truth of the matter is both of them needed each other, because if they didn't have each other, nobody else was going to want them. They both would have been out. And nobody liked Samson and nobody else liked Charisse. So then they have the big showdown. And so, you know, Charisse got to meet with Samson and let him know that he ain't ready to love. And Samson's like, I already knew, because when I got that phone call, I guess it was a Sunday, he already knew. So when he showed up, you know, he didn't even bring no gift. He's like, why I'm going to bring a gift? And I know I'm about to get eliminated. He knew exactly what he was coming for. And let me tell you something. He came with his guns ready to fire. Locked and loaded. He was ready to fire off some rounds on Charisse, because he's like, now that the gig is up and I ain't got to pretend no more, I'm gonna let her know everything I've been thinking, and I don't like you. And she was like, yeah, I heard you've been talking to other women that they were also of your interest. And he was like, well, I guess I should have been better at communicating where my interest really lies. And she was like, well, does your interest really lie with me? And he's like, wait a minute, I know you ain't trying to come at me. I know you ain't trying to question my character. It's your character that needs to be questioned, because you the one that got talked about like a dog up in the deliberation room. And Charisse was clutching her pearl. She's like, oh, what are you talking about? Me? People didn't like me? A girl. No, he right. Nobody liked you. But let me tell you, Samson let a rip. He started talking about Zoe didn't like you, Swayze didn't like you, Mike didn't like you. None of the men liked you. And if I was going off of what other men said, I wouldn't have been with you either. But I was trying to give you a chance. No, you weren't, Samson. You weren't trying to give her no chance out of the goodness of your heart, or that you really liked her. You realized that she was desperate and didn't have anybody else who would save her from elimination. And so you decided, hey, this is a mutually exclusive beneficial arrangement and I'm going to save you. So at the same time, you know, you saving me. Y'all needed each other. You needed each other and you used each other. Let's be real. But they was playing the dirty dozens. They were like, you fake, you baggage, you this, you that. I mean, they were hurling the insults back and forth. I mean, the mud slinging around the restaurant was everywhere. But you know what? All the time they were slinging this mud, Samson was eating that steak. He was like, I came here for the steak and I ain't gonna let no good steak go to waste. He was like, he was eating that steak and reading her at the same time. That was funny. He's like, I'm hungry and this steak is good and I don't really like you. So I'm gonna eat this steak. I'm gonna read you. And he, at one time he was telling her, why are you still here? She was like, because I get up when I want to get up. They were horrible, y'all. It was horrible. Charisse is like, no wonder we couldn't get intimate because you don't even like me. Bingo, Charisse. He don't like you. And I don't even know who Charisse thinks who she is as well. I mean, the stuff she's saying about Samson, we could all say it about her. And the things that Samson is saying about Charisse, we could all say it about him too. I'm telling you, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. But he's like, I didn't come here to talk about other ladies. I came here to talk about us. And she's like, there ain't gonna be no us. Y'all, I was laughing. I was rolling on the floor. And he's like, if it ain't gonna be no us, and if you're gonna give up on us, then why you waste my time? Why you waste my time? Why you waste your father's time? She's like, wasting time? You wasted my time. Y'all wasted each other's time. And to be honest with you, y'all wasted my time too, having to do these reviews on you, because we all knew there was never a chance of you two getting together. So this was a big time waster for everyone. We all lost. And he's like, well, I'm not gonna walk away. She said, you are gonna walk away because you ain't ready to be loved. So you're gonna have to walk away. This is over. She like this 50-year-old man. She all upset, this 50-year-old man. She's irritated. She's frustrated. Girl, you darn near 52, and you just as irritating and frustrating as well. I tell you, these two are two peas in a pod. The pot called the kettle black. They both need to go back and readjust their dating style and realize that they the problem in relationships. They are the problem. They need to stop pointing the finger this way, and they need to start doing it more this way, and figure out what they need to do differently so they have a better success out here, because they long way in the game at 48, and they haven't figured out some obvious issues they both have. They're not doing enough self-examination, because some of their problems is really, really obvious to a lot of people. But Samson, like, he don't care. He feel like he dodged a bullet as he was eating on that steak. I'm sure, what was that steak? Was it rare, a medium rare, a medium? How you like your steak, Samson? But he was eating that steak. He said, this steak is good. He was like, I dodged a bullet. He said, love is going to come to him in time, and he's willing to wait for it. He was like, tick tock, tick tock. The clock is ticking, Samson. The clock is ticking, so you better get a move on. He said in this process, he realized that he is triggered by stupidity. The truth is, Samson was really never interested in any of these women on this show, to be honest with you. None of them were a good fit for him at all, and none of these men were even a good fit for Charisse. There really weren't a lot of good matches on this show at all, but for sure, Samson did not have a good match on this show. His dating type really wasn't on this show. He probably went with Charisse because I think she physically looks like he would want, but emotionally and personality wise, it isn't what he wants or what he really needs. So it was explosive. This was almost like a murder suicide, because even though Charisse basically fired or murdered Samson and getting rid of him, she basically eliminated herself too, because there's nobody else where she connects with. So I don't know what happens next week if we just don't see Charisse anymore, because heck, she don't have no more connections. So she put a bullet in the head of Samson, but in the end, it was also the bullet in her head. But they both don't care. They're probably ready to be out of their misery, because they're like, oh, I'm tired of this charade and playing this game and having to pretend like we like each other, and we barely could stand to be in the same room with each other. But that's it, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you made it to the end, I appreciate y'all listening to me. And don't forget to leave me a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so we can talk again later as well. That's it. Talk to y'all later. Bye.